today's video. I'll be taking you through question 4 from the June 2020 paper on H's for Hawk by Helen Macdonald. This is an important question because it focuses on how the writer uses language and structure to build up tension and suspense. Now, to help you tackle this effectively, I'm going to start by briefly picking out some key quotes from the text. Then I will model a full response showing you how to analyze the language and structure in a way that meets the top mark criteria. I've also included a key resource for this text, which looks like this. You can download using the link below. This will help you with your revision and exam preparation, so be sure to check it out. So now let's dive into the extract and pick out some quotes. But before we do that, let's quickly have a look at the question. Okay, so it says, how does the writer Macdonald, or Helen Macdonald, use our key focus here is the language and structure, which all the questions follow the same format. The only thing that will be different is the focus of the question. And here it is what? To build tension and suspense. And notice it says you should, not you may, as question 3 says. So it means that here you are expected, there is a requirement for you to use evidence from the text to support your analysis. So the first thing we're going to do is to go through the text to find evidence that builds tension. I've already decided which one I was going to use before this video. So I'm going to go for don't want you going home with the wrong bird, because that creates a sense of foreshadowing at the exposition of the text, which builds tension. Remember, there's lots and lots that you can use. I'm just going for the obvious ones that I want to include. I really like the use of short sentences here in short successions, which builds up tension. And also this bit here, thump and another thump. The onomatopoeic element to this quote is really rich, and we can discuss it using layers of analysis and annotations as well. If we go here, this paragraph here, structurally, this paragraph looks completely different to the rest. It was the wrong bird. This was the younger one, the smaller one. This was not my hawk. And then it goes to O. We can also talk about this isn't my hawk, all of the use of the short sentences here. Okay, so we've got a couple of quotes that we can delve into when writing this response. Change my color to black now. So now before we write our response, it's really important to decide on the framework. You may have been told petal, peas, pea, Peter, etc. We normally do this question using this writing framework here of the writer's name. The writer's name, it's a bit like an equation, plus the method that they've used. So is it a language one or is it structure? Plus evidence from the text and plus a dive at least twice. A dive is your traditional analysis. But if you imagine that you are going inside a swimming pool, the further you go, the deeper you go. So within our quotes, we want to keep going deeper. And the deeper we go, we can also link it to other parts of the text as well. So let's start with our response now. So I wanted to use black, not purple. So we're going to do the writer's name now. In the exposition, okay, I've got a method there already. In the exposition, Macdonald uses, and then my technique here is foreshadowing. Macdonald uses foreshadowing when, I'm going to now use my evidence, when the man states, and then my evidence is, don't want you going home with the wrong bird. Don't want you going home with the wrong bird, full stop. Okay, so now we've got the writer's name, the method, our evidence. We now want to analyze, or we now want to dive in with our analysis. So the first thing I'm going to write about this this quote is that the phrase suggests, let's go for suggest. The phrase suggests that there is a potential, for error. There's a potential for error, which creates, let's say it creates a sense of foreboding, which is also a structural idea, creates a sense of foreboding. Because we start to think about the things that could possibly go wrong by her taking home the wrong bird. Okay, we want to now really develop our analysis now. So we're now going to include, furthermore, that's our first sentence then, furthermore, comma, furthermore, this adds to suspense, this adds to the suspense, by making the audience aware of a possible mistake, before it happens. And this obviously creates dramatic irony. This creates dramatic irony. Okay. Another important dive we can now include is the fact that there could be the potential for the wrong hawk, making it known that not all hawks are the same. So this also, let's do it like this. This also reveals that not all hawks are the same. Not all hawks are the same. Okay, we can further develop that, but I'm going to pause it here. And we're now going to talk about the onomatopoeic noun thump. I think I mentioned it here already. We're going to now be talking about this here, thump and another thump. So as the text progresses, that's our next sentence starter there. So as the text progresses, the same structure, Macdonald, or the writer, and then our method uses the onomatopoeic noun thump to do what? To heighten suspense, because we want to make sure that we are sticking to the question, and tension. Our first dive, what's the first thing we're going to say about this, is that this creates, I think it creates a sharp, sudden impact, which which mirrors the force and presence, which mirrors the sharp presence, the force and presence of the bird. Before it is even seen. And I think that's what builds the tension, because we get to hear it first. Okay, now this is the first thing that we've said about it, and that is in purple. We want to swim in deeper and say something else about it. So we will begin with, we've got this and this. So our next sentence then is always furthermore when we want to develop it, or moreover. Furthermore, this is emphasized. Ooh, will it fit? Yes, it will. This is emphasized by the use of, because that word is in italics and is also repeated. This is emphasized by the use. This is emphasized by the use of italics and repetition. Which visually, because we can see that it looks different, okay, which visually reinforces the weight and significance of the sound, because the sound precedes us seeing it, and then that builds up tension. Okay, our last final paragraph. Again, with all of this, you can even further develop it even more and going deeper as you swim. So we deliberately want to use structurally to signpost that we are now going to make an explicit structural point, even though we have been making structural points within it. Even with Thump, you could have spoken about the syntax of it, the fact that it's almost on either side, thump and another thump. Okay, so structurally, the use of the is exactly the same structure for the question. Structurally, the use of the single line no, I think I'm going to talk about the use of O first. Let's go for structurally the use of the monosyllabic. This is our technique of the monosyllabic exclamation, and then our evidence is oh, when she realized that she's got the wrong bird. The fact that it is italicized and isolated on the page. What does it do? I think number one is that it suspends movement. Yeah? It suspends the movement of the narrative. It suspends the movement of the narrative. What else could we say? It suspends the movement of the narrative. Full stop. Another thing we could say is that this brief pause acts as a structural interruption, which mirrors the fact that she's very stunned herself, yeah? Which mirrors Macdonald's stunned reaction full stop. Okay, we can talk about how it creates dramatic tension as well, but we'll just pause here. So far we've read the question, we've picked out key quotes that we wanted to talk about. You can even in your dives add another quote to really build up your analysis even further. But this is what our response looks like. I'll add some more onto it and leave a link below if you want to download it and have a read of it. But there you have it, our full top criteria response for this question.